That was
Dude, they introduce all this stuff onto the public, and then what always happens is eventually, decades later, it goes through the court system. It eventually makes its way
yeah.
up to the Supreme Court, and then buried this week amongst all the crap, Supreme Court backs Monsanto in a fight against the liability for the popular weed killer in Roundup. The Supreme Court sided with
Wow.
Roundup, man.
Wow. Hey, Tony, I never gave you credit for this. The number one fighter against glyphosate being applied on food before harvest. AOC. That's
Wow, there you go.
it's one of the things I really like backed her up on and I loved her for was she's really so they changed this law where now glyphosate Roundup they can spray it on wheat right before they harvest it so it dries it out and that's all this like Crohn's disease and
Right.
what's that gluten shit that people are they're allergic to? They call it
Celiacs, the celiac
disease. All of that is actually a reaction to the glyphosate that they're spraying on it. AOC just published this whole thing. It's been crazy. I actually really. It's one of those things where like you're really happy. At least, hey, if that's what it takes to take glyphosate, I'll vote for her if it gets Roundup and Monsanto out of my food.
This was a major
know what
blow
I
to the
mean?
MAHA movement. We're big on the MAHA movement, and this was
Huge
kind
on
of
MAHA.
anti. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I wanted to make sure I put it out there because we've ripped on this person endlessly since she entered the Supreme Court. Ketanji Brown Jackson with the dissenting opinion on this was right
you.
on the
Yeah.
money. I can't believe I'm saying it.
She was right on.
She was right on the money,
Yes.
and it's actually
Yes.
unbelievable. I wish people would understand that,
100%.
this is the uniparty in action. This is the real uniparty.
This is what George Carlin was talking about.
Absolutely,
It's a big party, and we're not in it.
We're talking generations of people poisoned by this stuff, but landscapers and regular people who just were working in these areas applying these materials, and they have to suffer the consequences of the cancer. And then through their years and decades of litigation through the smaller courts, and finally, probably after all these guys are dead, reaches the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court says, "Fuck you! We're siding with the corporations, man."
No,
and that's how it always happens. That's what will happen with the COVID shots, by the way.
Yes.
Anyone hoping with anything with Fauci, nothing will happen to Fauci. He's going to walk.
Yes.
You're going to suffer. That's how it always goes.
But it's even worse, dude. It's the Ford Pinto over and over again.
Enlighten us on the Ford Pinto, my man. I love this. Yeah.
So the reason the Ford Pinto was so bad, it's not that they built this car knowing that it would blow people up.
Not funny, but it is.
It is funny. Yeah. Here's the funny part: there were other cars that built at the same time that were even worse than the Ford Pinto at burning people alive.
Wow, man!
The reason the Ford Pinto gets it is because what was revealed in court is that Ford did research. They had private investigators, private researchers, and they realized it would cost less to pay the victims than it would cost to fix the car.
For sure, dude. Absolutely.
And that's the same thing here. That's right what you guys don't realize. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. No, you're right on the money, dude. I think
everybody says the cover-up was worse than the crime, but it's not even the cover-up. It's the fact that they knew they were committing the crime. They knew the penalty they would pay for the crime was less than the penalty they would pay to be in compliance.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, man. No, that's the scam. Crazy. That's the controversy. Whenever there's conspiracy theories for real conspiracies, those are the conspiracies. It's about screwing the common man, killing people even, and knowing with your lawyers even, your teams of lawyers, before the news of people dying from whatever you create reaches the public, you consult with them and you realize, no, we'll just take the hit financially and we can ride the wave. Money. Yeah, that's literally what happens with this shit, dude.
No, 1,100 people will burn to death in rear-end accidents. but we're gonna make more money.
Totally.
We'll pay their families.
Yes.
And we'll be profitable for our shareholders.
Dude, guaranteed.
So this is what I hate is like, yeah, and that is the evil side of capitalism. Capitalism is not perfect by any means. The best system humans have created.